All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of the Health Movement Podcast. I'm Derek, your host, certified personal trainer and teacher of over 20 years. I have an awesome guest with us today, but before I introduce her, I just want to reiterate that we are not doctors. So before changing anything, fitness, nutrition, or any other ideas you get from the show, please consult your physician. And if you're watching this on YouTube, like, follow, subscribe, leave comments, you know the whole spiel by now. But all right, so without any further ado, I have with us today Frances Anane, who I have different ways to introduce you, but I would love to just hear from you who you are and kind of get us started.
Sure. Thank you, Derek, for having me. My name's Frances Anane. I'm a habits and identity coach. So I help high performers transform their habits to eliminate self-sabotage and then to step into the identity necessary for the next level in their life. So my main message really is just that everyone has the power to become their highest self. They just have to decide they want to. And the way to do that is to transform your habits, because your habits are what you do every day. And what you do every day makes you who you are. And a lot of the reason why we get stuck, a lot of times we think it's really hard to change our habits or, New Year's resolutions. We have trouble with that is because we're not working on the identity portion. So
I
really
gotcha.
the identity comes before the habits. You adopt that identity first and then you act as that person.
So you would create the habits based on the identity that you want to aspire, or I've read and heard a lot like I trying to be careful with the way I'm phrasing this, but you have an identity, and maybe it's not who you are right now. If I want to be a professional basketball player, that's my identity. And then my habits need to be created in order to achieve that identity. Should I say that
Sure.
correctly?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And if you're a basketball player, you can have multiple identities, but if you want to be in the NBA and adopt that identity, then you have to adopt the habit that an NBA player would have, right? But a lot of times we think, they're in the NBA. That's really hard. There's a lot of people there. It's hard to get there from where I'm at right now. But if you can fully morph into that identity and become that person, then you can transform into that person. But we can only go as far as we believe we can, right? That's as
I
far as we're gonna go.
I love that you said that, and it's something I mentioned on a couple of the shows, but I've done a lot of self-reflecting this summer. I'm a teacher and I'm off, and I paint houses during the summer, so I'm on a ladder by myself with my headphones in. So your mind is obviously is going. So there was a lot of self-reflection, and you do talk about that. I noticed in some of your posts, understanding who you really are, and self-reflecting on the way that you've done what you've done. Wow, that was really bad. See, now you can feel good if you stumble over words or anything like that. I've set the bar so low for you that it's okay.
No, you're doing great.
But what I was trying to say was, I've thought and reflected on my teaching habits and who I am and everything along that line, and realizing that I haven't achieved what I feel like I'm capable of achieving. So then, like you said, the habits need to now come into play to reach those aspirations or that identity that I envision for myself. So, yeah.
Well, what is it that you want to achieve that you believe, would be the next step?
Wow, put me on the spot right away. I love it, Frances. I love it. Well, I there's a philanthropy side of things where I want to. I feel like in the world, and this might be getting too into the weeds, but with technology the way it is and social media and all that is definitely out there. But now with the whole AI boom and the way that stuff is going, I don't know if you saw those the bunny rabbits on the trampoline Instagram reel or one of those reels. It looks so lifelike, and I think it was considered the first completely AI generated reel that people thought was real. It was like backyard trampoline and these bunnies are bouncing on it and people were sending it to each other like, oh, isn't this cute? Completely made up. So I think there could be a lack of human connection with people. And I think the more we can connect on a more personal level and use that to raise money for certain events or charities or whatever it happens to be by working together with people, and kind of building that community piece, I think would be awesome. So I don't know the name of that identity, but just more, um, I would like people to be more socially driven as opposed to statistics or, likes or all that other stuff. The things I asked for at the beginning of the show.
Sure.
Oh man, such a hypocrite. But I guess, and I'm still thinking through it. I'm trying to understand it all. And the problem with my mind is it goes in 1,000 directions. So I'd also love to do public speaking. I think with my experience as an educator and working with people, I've seen hundreds and hundreds of people go through, and you see them grow up, and you kind of get a sense of what's helpful to kids and what's helpful to people. So I guess there's that piece there. And one final thing, I feel like you're the one I'm interviewing, but I'm rambling here. But I have a terrible Achilles tendonitis, which is in the process of getting better. But I know physically I haven't pushed myself to what I think I'm capable of, whether it be I want to run a marathon. I'd love to run across Massachusetts. I'd love to do certain things like that where I see what I'm capable of. So how's
Sure.
that? How's that for a long-winded answer to a
No,
question?
I really love it, and I'm glad you brought. I really resonated with everything you said, and I definitely think community is going to be the next currency, and especially in this digital world, it's going to be really hard to navigate through. And I don't want to get off topic at all, but I was watching a movie trailer this weekend with a friend, and we realized like, hey, that's not a real movie trailer because they're not the 007, but it was so real.
Oh,
So things are really, really starting to get deceiving. And that was the kind of the first thing that I saw that I was really like, wow, we're going to have to start. People are really going to start wanting in person connection because they're not going to really believe anything that's coming through the digital world.
yeah. And I was talking to a friend today, and they mentioned that they have an older son, and the son wanted to get a flip phone because of the just seeing, like you said, you don't know what's real and what's not. And if you have a phone call and talk to somebody, I guess in theory that could be AI generated as well, but just get back to a little easier personal connection and in community and actually seeing people. So I see what you're saying there. I definitely do. Um, but all right, just to get a little bit
Yeah,
back on track here. That was my fault though. I steered us
that's
down that
okay.
direction. That was all me.
I know I was on
Um,
the rabbit hole with you.
it's bad though, Sarah. Like
Yeah.
I would talk to, and this is again that technology piece. I don't know if you've ever talked to like Chat GPT where you put the voice up. You can have full blown conversations. I had like a 2.5 hour conversation trying to think through one of my ideas while I'm painting, and it's crazy. And then afterwards, you're like, I just spoke to a computer for like 2.5 hours. So you get that piece, but I don't know, just the way the world is going, you don't know. So anyway, to get back on track, and I apologize to the listeners for going off on a tangent there. Um, so just to see if I get this correct, you were in the real estate business, correct? And you were doing well for yourself, from what I could tell.
Mhm.
What caused the switch now to be a habits and identity coach?
Sure. So now I get to go down the rabbit hole.
Nice,
I've
nice.
been
Your
in
turn.
I've been in commercial real estate for almost 15 years now, and I was a broker. I am still a broker, but I had been going through cycles over the past 15 years. Kind of, I'd have a lot of deals, and I'd feel a little bit stressed and overworked, maybe burnt out sometimes, and then I'd not have so many deals, and I was really starting to feel a sense of unfulfillment, I guess you could say, just that, you know, where are we all going? What's our purpose? What am I doing this for? And so I started really getting into psychology and neuroscience, and I went underground for like 6 months. Didn't
I
talk to
love it.
anybody. I just dialed in and I started studying. And I realized quickly into this, I started studying successful people as well. Like, what did they do and how are they getting forward? And I realized that my habits were not going to get me to the next level that I want to be as I went through this. And I started to find happiness as well as I started digging in. I started practicing all of these new habits, mindset tricks, mindfulness habits. And so about a month in, I had dissected all of my habits and I removed all of the bad habits from my life, that what I considered to be bad habits. I stopped drinking, I stopped smoking, I stopped watching TV. I started waking up at 4 in the morning, doing everything that is science backed. There's a lot of books about 5 a.m. club, but there's not that many about, sleeping in and staying up late.
Yeah,
So I just followed
that's
the
true.
routes of the successful people. And that transformation, as I removed all of those bad habits and inserted all of the mindfulness, visualization, meditation, uh, any mindset tricks, affirmations. There's probably like 40 micro habits that I do throughout the day from when I go to bed and when I wake up. And it was so transformational that I was like, why are we all doing this? So I really put it into my own transformation process and I started coaching on it. And it's been so fulfilling. And, to be able to recreate that process and take people through, I mean, you're literally rewiring your brain. By the end of it, you're not on the same wavelength, right? Because you've dug so deep internally and externally, and you have to measure. It's a full transformation process, so you have to measure everything in your environment. There's a lot of things that people don't take into consideration, like your environment. If you
Mm,
want to be a new person, you can't stay in the same environment, right? So
yeah,
it just depends on what your goals are, but you want to surround yourself with things that are motivating to become the person you want to be, people that push you, people that want you to be better, and people that have the same habits, right? I mean, everyone knows if you hang out with 4 smokers, you're going to be the fifth smoker, stuff like
yeah.
that. So that's how I got into everything, and it's been so life changing. I love it. I mean, my day, I will tell you, is completely different than what it used to look like before. So my message really to everyone is just that, you don't have to get into a near death car accident or, experience something life changing to come and have your second life. You could just decide that you want to do something different, that you want to become your highest self.
You look happy, like, and I know we just met, but you seem happy. You seem it. I don't, not to get too deep, but you seem kind of at peace. Just listening to you talk, you seem like you know your place, which has to feel good, I imagine.
Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate that it's received. And I'll tell you, when you go through this process, you truly become unbothered and at peace because you really have to dig in and learn how to not get your happiness from external things and to really get it from yourself. And throughout that process, that's when you can really like find happiness whenever you want because it's all about self-assessment. It's not about anything outside.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I like how you said that it comes internally because there are plenty of millionaires and billionaires who are unhappy. And then there are other people who have almost no money and they couldn't be happier. Um, there was a story I had heard about there was a fisherman in, I want to say like Southeast Asia, who would go out, fish, get as much as he needed, come home. His family would all, they'd sing and dance, they'd have a good time. And then a Westerner, of course, comes in and was like, oh, we could make more money with this. We could do this. And he was giving him all the things he would need to do. But of course, it'd be so much more he'd have to do and all that. But then the guy was like, don't worry, when you get older, you'll be able to do what you want. He's like, so when I'm older, I'll be able to spend time with my family and dance and have fun and do all the stuff I'm doing now. And the guy's like, yeah, but you'll have more money. I was like, I don't need that. I have what I have and it makes me happy. So
Yes. Yeah, I love that.
yeah, I don't know. So yeah, you're completely right about internally you have to be happy. If you're not, then the external stuff is just a band-aid and kind of runs out pretty quickly.
Yeah, yeah, and I love that you brought up that story because it's just a perfect example of, we're all out here looking for something else, but really all we're looking for is like internal happiness, community and connection, like you said, and to be able to sustain our life, you know, um, it- whether you have 7 million or 8 million, it's not going to make a difference, and everyone has a different perception of success. And really, to me, success is just what makes you happy. I personally like to push myself to uncomfortable levels. That's what I'm motivated to do. Some people don't want to do that. Some people would love to fish and just spend all day relaxing, you know?
Yeah.
It's just whatever your definition of success is.
Yeah, and it's not good or bad. It's just whatever works for you, and that's the way it is. Um, Non-negotiable habits. You said you had a bunch of micro habits. Can you give me a few of those things that you have to do?
Sure. Well, I'll start with the number one habit that people always ask me if I just have to give one, because I think for me and for anyone, that what I also see in my clients, the difference is the biggest keystone habit would be early rising,
Yeah.
5 a.m., 5:30, just earlier than you are now, because that's a keystone habit. So when you start waking up an hour or two before you wake up, you're automatically having 1 to 2 hours extra in your day, because what are you doing between 10 p.m. and 11 p.m.? It's probably
Watching
not all the,
TV. Yeah.
yeah. And
Eating
then what do you do?
chips.
Exactly. So when you start going to bed a little bit earlier to wake up a little bit earlier, you're automatically adopting 1 or 2 extra hours of productivity. And for me, when I prescribe that, I also prescribe, the first hour of affirmations, visualization. I have a whole process, morning routine to prime myself for the day. So I just think, if you wake up early, you're going to be readier than everyone else. You're going to be more content, and it's harder to to be reactive or to react to other people when you've primed yourself for the day.
Yeah.
I'm prepared. So when someone comes at me at 8 or 9 a.m., I'm like, I've been up since 4. I've been working on myself. I've hit the gym already. Like, they're not going to affect me today.
Yes, and that's a win, like, it's an early win if and nobody sees for well, I won't say nobody, but generally, if the alarm goes off at 4, you're like, "Okay, and you pull yourself out of bed, you do it. Most people aren't like, "Yay, let's go," like, I'm pumped. But it's a win, like, you got yourself to accomplish something that maybe you didn't wanna do right off the bat, so you're already starting the day with the win, kinda like making your bed first thing in the morning too. It's a little thing, but you stack wins throughout the day as much as you can. I like that one.
Yeah.
I will say though, when I'm an early riser too. I like getting up. I walk to the gym in the morning. It's still dark out most days, but it's still like it's rejuvenating. But when I first started doing it, I remember, I was tired in the day. I'm like, oh my gosh, it feels like it's like 3 or 4, and I look and it's like 10:30 in the morning. I'm like, oh man, all right, this is gonna take some getting used to. But you adapt, and it actually doesn't take that long. It takes probably a week or two, and then now I don't even set an alarm, and I think I was up at 5:15 this morning without an alarm. So I don't know. Tons of fun over here.
Yeah. Yeah. That's really good. And also my message to everyone is to like, I used to sleep in like no other. Now it's a little bit harder for me to sleep in past, maybe 7, just because, like you said, after time, it makes it really difficult. However, I always used to read books like 5 a.m. Club. Like 5 years ago, I read 5 a.m. Club. I tried it and I loved it. I tried it for a month, and then I didn't change my identity though, because I always found myself to be an evening person, and I never really identified as a morning person. So after a month, I went back to my old habits, and I was kind of bummed. I'm like, oh man, I wish I could keep that up,
Yeah.
but you can. So a lot of people read books and they think like this guy's not like me. I could never be like that, but you really can be. No one is special. Everyone has the power. So
Yeah, I like that you said that too. And I've mentioned this a couple times on the show, but in my classroom, I teach 5th grade. So 10 and 11-year-olds, I have a wall of famous, successful people, and it ranges from athletes to scientists, entrepreneurs, whoever it is. But they were all, 10 years old sitting in class someday, and it was their habits and their consistency and their mindset and their will to, they had a goal, they wanted to achieve it. That was their identity. And they all had tough things to go through. Like nobody has an easy road. And I feel like the ones that do have an easy road don't become strong individuals in the end. You have to usually go through something to grow and appreciate what you have. So it's understanding the journey you're going through. And then when things don't go well, or I don't know, you quote unquote fail, understanding it's not failure. It's you just didn't get it that time, but learn from it and don't make the same mistakes if it was a mistake, or just, you're a little bit better. Fail, 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 fail 10 times in a row, but you got a little better. And then you do it again, you got a little better. And then by the 100th time, 1000th time, whatever it is, you're able to be successful. Nobody sees the 1,000 attempts that you fail miserably on. They just see that and they're like, oh, I wish I could be that way. And you're
yeah.
saying you can be. You got to identify as that and make the habits that lead you there.
Yeah, right. And no one sees the work, right? You shine in the light for what you do in the dark, but it, it took a lot of work to transform my habits, a lot of
Oh,
determination.
yeah.
It's not like I just had it in me. There's a lot of perseverance there, and so you have to be willing to get uncomfortable, but that's what I really like. I love chasing the uncomfortable. I want to be comfortable in the uncomfortable.
I like that.
That's my
Yeah.
motto.
I think that's what the running piece and pushing myself, and that's just more of a physical thing, but I was doing, it's called the Norwegian 4x4. I listened to Peter Attia's book Outlive
Ah, mm,
on my phone while I was painting, and VO2 max is one of the best indicators of longevity in maintaining your health. And that's how much oxygen your body can take in and process while you're doing stuff. In the way, one of the best ways to increase it is something called the Norwegian 4x4, where you go on the elliptical or treadmill or something. You push yourself where you're going as hard as you can for 4 minutes and trying to maintain that same pace for 4 minutes. And then you go 4 minutes at like almost a walking pace so you can lower the heart rate. And you do 4 rounds of that. And it sucks.
mm.
Like it's not fun at all. But as I'm doing it I'm like, you got this, like just, 1 more minute. And you just kind of set up those little mini goals as you're doing it. And when you finish it once, you're like, all right, I have no excuse. Like I did it, which means I can do it again and I can do it again. And it's just, I've done it now 3 times. The third time I started to learn what I'm actually capable of doing, because I thought I was going hard the first 2 times. And then this third time, like, all right, I really got to step it up. Let's see how hard I can go. And I'm on the elliptical because I can't run or anything at the moment. But it was cool to see that I was able to level up or push myself more than I thought I was capable of before. Um, so I don't know, we put these shackles and chains on ourselves with our own mindset and everything else. And when you're able to kind of break through those, it's a cool feeling. It definitely is.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good tip. I'm gonna do that after this
Yeah.
podcast.
Yeah. No,
Go
mine
down to the gym.
Thursdays. And I hate it, but I kind of look forward to it at the same time because you
Y-
feel accomplished afterwards. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's definitely good for you. That, and I started doing yoga twice a week, which is humbling in itself because it's flexibility is not my strong suit for sure.
Yeah. It's much harder than it looks stretching.
Oh, it
It looks
definitely is. It definitely is. So
yeah.
when you were saying that you had a lot of habits you had to change And I don't mean to exaggerate by saying a lot, but you had habits you had to change.
Oh yeah.
What was the toughest one for you? Is there one that stands out, or were there a couple that were really hard? And if you don't wanna say, that's perfectly
No,
okay.
I'm open book. I love sharing my story and hopefully it resonates with other people. Um, let's see. The hardest was for sure waking up early because, like I said, I had never been a morning person before. I would just I'd snooze for an hour, two, if you want it. I snooze forever. So that was for sure the hardest. I think the most transformative was stopping alcohol because I had created a lifestyle around that and, happy hours
Mhm.
and celebrating on the weekends or birthdays and just especially when you're in business and sales and real
I was gonna
estate.
say real estate, like, I feel like there's a lot of connections and that social aspect has gotta be there.
Yeah, yeah, and that's a common objection I get from people, which I don't push anyone to not stop drinking, that was a
Yeah.
personal decision. But a lot of my clients come and on the first day we do an audit and kind of reflect so we know what we're dealing with and they just tell me that they don't like drinking, but they do it. I'm like, well, okay, that's fine. If you don't like it, you don't have to do it. And well, I have business and, what am I going to do? I go to dinners a lot. And so it's everywhere. I'm like, okay, well, that's just a story you're telling, it's just a
Yeah.
habit, anything like anything else. And you can get mocktails and people really nowadays, especially in the culture, I think it's totally fine to, if not respected. So that was a big one for me. And if I were to talk to someone else, I would say, really audit. Do you actually like it? Because a lot of people, when I tell them I don't drink, also start telling me how they wish they drink less, or that they're so
Okay.
hungover, or that it's taking, as they get older, it's harder to drink, and they, even one will take them back, and I'm like, okay, so I think that one was the most transformational for me, I would say, because I had to change my entire environment and lifestyle for that one.
Did you lose friends out because of that?
I certainly, uh, yes, I did. I did lose friends, and I had to find a new environment that really accepted, that didn't drink as much and wanted to do the same things that I do, activities and pickleball and hiking
Yeah.
all I'm sure you do a lot of healthy activities as well. So I did lose some. I, kept a lot as well, but there's some that didn't really want to hang out, I guess, after that because
Yeah.
I didn't want to do the same things.
And I hope this doesn't sound presumptuous, but if you're bettering yourself and they are your true friend or they want what's best for you, they I would imagine would be super supportive of that and wanna help you out or kinda do that with you. Um, I don't know. Hopefully that's not too presumptuous to say, but I
Mm.
do get it. Like if that's somebody's lifestyle and they don't wanna change it, that's okay. That's their choice. But, if you wanna make a change yourself, that's sometimes what happens.
Yeah, yeah, and it's funny you brought that up because when you do change yourself very drastically, very quickly, um, people's personalities definitely come out, and you hear a lot from big podcasters and successful people when they'll really get into people trying to hold you back um, from because really you're a reflection of them, right? And so when you
Mhm.
stop doing all the things that they're still doing, they don't want to see it. And a lot of people, some people actively spoke against what I was doing, like I was the bad person. So,
Oh,
well, but
that's
most of the people, like all of my really good friends, they were so supportive and inspired. And but you definitely see people's true colors.
but it's also like the ones who are supportive of you, that just makes the bond grow stronger, I would imagine, because you
Mhm.
go through something and they're right there with you. They might not be going through the same thing, but they're being supportive, and that's I guess at the end, we just that's what you're looking for in friendship is someone who's got your back and you've got their back, and it's kind of That's good though. That's good. And you picked up pickleball as well.
I love pickleball. I love pickleball. Are you a pickleballer?
My mom is a huge pickleballer. I have not done it. I can't, and it's killing me. But now that I'm done painting, apparently the ladder's the worst thing in the world if you have Achilles tendonitis. So I've been
Mm.
going to physical therapy, and now that that's all done, it should start to heal up. But my mom's asked me to come and play sometimes, and she is the first one to listen to the show. Every Monday morning, I get a text at like 6 or 6:30 with a response to the show. They come out at 5 a.m. So she listens right away. I know she's going to hear it. Sorry, mom, but I don't know about. I don't want to hurt anybody by hitting a ball, and she's in her 70s, and a lot of the people are too. So sorry, mom. It does seem like fun though. Like I do see the enjoyment in it. I definitely do.
Yeah, it's such a good activity. And talk about community building when you have something where you're alternating partners after every game. And you might switch out two and be playing with three completely new people in the next
Mhm.
game. And it's a really great way to connect with people, I think.
And like-minded people too.
Hmm.
I play pickup basketball when I can, and it's the same sort of thing.
Mm.
You just have 10 random people on the court and you all play, and then new people come on and it switches up. But I don't know, some of the good friendships I've made have been either on the basketball court or in the gym, or like you said, doing the activities that are like-minded and that people enjoy doing.
Yeah, it's important. It's important to have people around you that are like-minded and motivating and support your goals and support your pickleball.
I imagine quitting the drinking helped you get up earlier a little more easily. Did you notice, like, once you started changing certain habits, the other ones kind of changed as well a little more easily?
Oh, yeah, it's unreal. When you really transform all of your habits like that, there is a compounding effect that really makes you, like the movie Limitless when you take the pill and he can
I
bring you.
haven't is that with, Bradley Cooper?
Yeah.
I have not. It keeps popping up on either Netflix or Prime. I'm like, "I should watch that." I have not done that yet.
Yeah, it's really powerful because all of these things that once controlled you, that you feel like you didn't have control of, they were running you. When you take control of the things controlling you, you have like the ultimate power over your mind and your body. And so everything compounds when you're choosing what you're doing for your habits and throughout the day and when you're waking up. Like you start taking control and you become the driver again instead of the other things driving you. So yeah, it's very powerful, and the alcohol alone had so many effects. I instantly lost 10 pounds, which
Oh.
I'm not, a big girl at all. So I didn't even know where that came from. I don't know where it's hiding. It's like maybe it was bloat. I don't know, but I instantly lost 10 pounds from my normal weight, and the sleep was so much better. Sleep
Mm,
quality was really great. Although, you want me to tell you something interesting
I would love you to
for
tell
all
me
the
something.
podcast, everyone listening out here? Um, so I had done a biome blood test, the whole gut intelligence test. It was like gut, blood, uh, gut, blood, saliva,
Yep.
and I did it right before I stopped drinking and smoking and all of this, coincidentally. So I'm like, oh, this is gonna be great. This is like perfect timing. I did it right before I'm gonna see all the impact. And 6 months later, I redid the test, and my biological age was I'm 36. I turned 36 on Monday, and
Happy birthday.
thank you, thank you. My biological age I think was like 28 before that, and it went from to 37. I aged
What?
10 years, and I'm like, what the heck? And I looked at all my vitals. I'm like, this isn't right. I contacted Bio. I'm like, this isn't right. Your testing is
Yeah.
obviously off. And they said it's because your body is completely regenerating from your lifestyle. So it's building an entirely, new system to compensate for what was going in and out, because it had pretty much adapted to alcohol and nicotine. And so they said it takes about a year for it. So I'll keep you updated.
Yeah,
It's
I'd like
been
to
a
hear
year now. I need to get the test again. But
when did all this go down?
this was a year ago. So I'll let you know how it goes.
That's incredible. So all of this happened this past, so you started this journey then, like a year ago?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, uh, like I said, all of my habits had transformed so quickly within a month that the compounding rate was truly unbelievable. Like what I could do it 1 month later and who I was. So, and it keeps compounding. Uh, like if you don't give up on what you're doing, don't stop because you think you reached your goal. Because I'm so certain. I mean, every month I feel so much stronger and more powerful and more disciplined and more confident. It just keeps getting better. Some of the compound effects are even a year later, because you keep learning, keep educating. I
Absolutely.
obviously am in this space. So I keep revamping and auditing every single week, every Sunday. I still audit my habits and everything because I think we have to self audit. So but yeah, it compounds really fast. And if you can stick to it and not give up when you think you've reached the top and just keep pushing to be your best self, there's no limit.
I wanna hammer on that point a little bit that you just made, which is a lot of people are like, they get that fixed mindset where they're like, "Oh, I can't do it. It's gonna take forever," all that stuff, instead of looking at it like, what's myself in a year gonna say? Like, looking back, and what would they say to me right now? And that's a hell of a transformation in a year's time. Um, that did you start the business a year ago too?
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, right after I had transformed my day, I was so amazed and so happy. I'm like, okay, I'm putting this on paper right now. I built it and started getting clients and yeah, it's
That's
just learn to
amazing.
move quickly. If you don't take action, there's something that I heard on a podcast that maybe hopefully somebody listening will take away, but David Guillaume said if he hears something that inspires him or a good business idea or something he wants to do, he takes some form of action within 24 hours. So I always do that. If I'm like, oh, that's a good idea, I'll get the ball moving right away because otherwise we're just going to procrastinate. The idea will go
Yeah,
away. And if we get into the habit of that, if you get into the habit of taking action on things really quickly, then your momentum never stops.
I love that. I love the reassessing frequently too, because just because you achieve a goal doesn't mean you're done. And that's awesome. Like, celebrate it, be proud of yourself, all that stuff. But set another one because like you said, you can keep learning, keep getting better, you can keep getting stronger, all that stuff. And it just, that's incredible. That's definitely inspirational, and it's a good thing for people to hear that, like, a year happens quickly. And I heard a quote that most people overestimate what they can do in a day, but underestimate what they can do in a year. And you've accomplished a ton in such a short time when you consider the length of a life. Like, you've I don't know, that's awesome. Sorry, I'm stuck on that point, but I think
Yeah.
that's really impressive, and I think it's awesome for people to hear. That's a
Well,
complete
thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I'm just like, you were set, like, you were successful in the real estate business. You had your career. Most people are too afraid to make a change. And I know you still said you still have your license, so you could still do it, but you kinda, I don't know. It's awesome.
Yeah. No, I still do real estate, and I do coaching. When you coach on productivity, discipline, and habits, you can squeeze a lot more into the day, especially when you're waking up at 4 in the morning.
That's
I
true.
feel like
That's true.
sometimes I feel like I could have 3 jobs, and I do. Um, but yeah, then I get a little bit overwhelmed. But I'm glad you brought something up about fear because I think this point is so important. There's so many people out there living in fear, and you can live in fear or you can live in trust. And so, which one are you going to decide? Are you going to live in fear that holds you back from becoming who you want to be and never accomplishing your full potential or seeing what you could really be? Or are you going to live in trust and just trust that, you have the power and that if you work really hard, you can accomplish what you're going to? Um, a lot of people also live in the past, I think, which is an issue.
Mm.
And you have to live in the future, right? Your present should be based on the future, and your past should be based on your present. So you should be reframing your past and thinking, that was great, not letting it affect your day or your future, but living through the person you want to be, not the person you were. That's how you
Yeah,
keep excelling.
I like that. Have you, and this is definitely a shot in the dark, have you ever read the book Jonathan Livingston Seagull?
Mm-mm.
It was my father passed away a long time ago, but it was his favorite book. And the premise of the book is it's told from the point of view of a seagull. And it's not like a picture book, it's an actual like novel. But all the seagulls are doing everything they do. They go for fish and they whatever. And Jonathan, he wanted to push himself and see how fast he could fly. And all the other seagulls were making fun of him, giving him a hard time. And he gets to a point where his flying is so good that he's able to achieve a level where no other seagulls can go except for a very select few. And then he meets these other seagulls. And with those ones, he's able to push himself to even another level. And you just see the progression through discipline, hard work, knowing what you want and really pushing for it. And then at the end of the story, he comes back to where the other ones are and he meets somebody who is just like him, who is trying to fly fast, and then he kind of guides him on. Um,
Oh,
so it's a short book. I think it takes like 2 or 3 hours to read. It's not long. But it was my father. I still have his copy. It's got notes and stuff in it and stuff. So it's kind of a cool read in that regard too. But it's a good story. I don't know. It reminded me of what you're talking about.
yeah, I really love that. I love the concept and storytelling is really powerful, right? I mean,
Yeah.
the Bible and everything, all of the concepts through story, I think, are how you can get inspiration as well. So I really love that. It reminds me, I was actually having a conversation with a friend this weekend, and we were kind of discussing the fact of, people's capability, because we were in a smaller town and we were like, it's hard to get out of these towns. And my friend was bringing up that, well, some people don't have the capability or the ability to, whether it be, financial ability or education, or maybe they just don't have the knowledge, or maybe they're not smart or quick enough. And I was like, no, I don't believe that at all. I think some of the most successful people came from the worst places. And I
Mm.
think really the problem is education. We're not educated enough, and the belief. If the people aren't around you, don't have belief in you, and you don't have belief in yourself, it's really hard to get out of where you can come from. But if you can believe in yourself and adopt that belief, like MJ or Kobe, all these people just had so much self belief. And then well, not only that, but you can have someone else that believes you. That power is really strong for what you can do. And I don't think you need to be the smartest or the most handsome. You just have to be the best at what you want to do and believe that you can do it.
Yeah. And I like you want to be able to achieve things. And at the end of the day, it's gonna come down to what you're willing to do. But there are gonna be times where the support system you have around you, sometimes you need a little push, or there are going to be days where it's like, I've got 10% today. I need some help. And that's having that around you, I think is huge. And that's what you're talking about is, you have the community of people who are similar to you and want similar things. So when you need that push, when you need that help, and sometimes honestly, it's a minute long conversation where you just remember, all right, I've got this connection. I know I can do this sort of thing. Um, is super helpful. I love the Kobe and MJ reference. I definitely use them as a lot of motivation too, to see their story and their drive. Definitely early
Yeah.
risers. I think Kobe had a slightly different work ethic. Michael would be playing golf and smoking cigars a lot, and Kobe was a little more a little more focused. But um, I digress.
Just the determination.
Definitely. Can I do a quick little game with you?
Sure.
All right. I've done this. I like doing this. This is going to be a blind ranking. So I'm going to give you 6 daily habits, and you have to, without knowing what's coming next, rate them anywhere from 1 to 6.
Okay.
All right. And
You're going to give me 6 daily habits, and I rate them from 1 to 6.
yeah, but if you say, all right, that's my 3, nothing else that you hear can be 3. So you're not going to know what's coming next.
Okay. I think that is. So you're going to give me the habit, and then I'm going to tell you right away?
Yeah, you're going to say, all right, I'm going to put that at 5. Then I'm going to give you another
okay.
habit, and then you put it someplace. Okay.
Okay.
All right. First habit is morning exercise.
Morning exercise?
Yeah, I'll say any exercise whenever it fits into your day.
Exercise. Ooh.
Yeah.
I don't know what else is coming. So
No, you
it's
don't.
really hard. 3?
3. All right. Weekly reflection.
6?
6. All right. Community or networking, keeping up relationships.
So your relationships that you have, your environment, is that,
Yeah.
or so I'd say almost 1. I mean, to have people around you that motivate you and inspire you is such a strong effect. So if that's the kind of community we're talking about, I would say 1.
Okay, that's good. Journaling.
2.
2. All right. This one, I don't know how you feel, but I know you mentioned you don't watch much TV anymore. A digital detox. Limiting that.
4,
5 left.
I don't want to say 4. I think phones are a huge problem,
Yes.
epidemic worthy, and there are many people out there on the phone just avoiding all of their potential, scrolling and avoiding. And if you're many people are spending an hour minimum
Oh gosh, yeah.
scrolling, a minimum. I mean, that's especially kids, I mean, there's people that out there 4 to 6 hours a day.
If you go in the settings on your phone and click battery, you can see how many hours you spend each day on what it's eye-opening.
Yeah. Yeah, it's bad. So it's really just avoiding all your potential. So I think that's huge. And it's not good for the mindset what you're seeing. You're taking in everything. You might not it might not register with you, but your unconscious is taking in everything, whether it be a billboard or a commercial that's on while you're cooking. You're actively taking in everything. So I like that one. Yeah. 4 for sure. I feel very
4?
strongly about that.
I
Obviously.
purposely, because I'm a jerk, put this one last, but waking up early.
Okay. Well, I guess it's 5.
So I'm gonna read back to you, and if you wanted to switch any around, you can just say where you would move them. But your number 1 was the community that you have. 2 was journaling. 3, exercise. 4, digital detox. 5 is waking up early, and 6 is weekly reflection.
Okay, and it's not far off. If you want my real list, it would be morning, community, journaling, exercise, whatever that one was, and
digital
then
detox left.
Digital
and then
detox, and then
journaling.
reflection.
Yeah.
And then reflection. Journaling is very important. Yeah.
I keep hearing that, and I just don't. I've done it a couple times, and I haven't created the habit yet. That goes along. I have to figure out what the identity is that I need to have, because I do agree. In the more reflection I've done, and I'll use my phone and I'll talk into it and I'll keep track sometimes then, but it's not a daily habit of mine, which I think is important, like you said. No.
Yeah, journaling is like your own personal therapist, and the kicker is it's you. You're talking to yourself, but it's like doing a long division math problem in your head. It,
Yeah,
a lot
it
of times you
doesn't.
really can't. You got to put it on paper. And how often are we doing these complex things, or someone's bothering us, or there's something that's repeating in our head because our brain will loop it until we solve the problem, right? So if you have something looping and you put it on paper, you just got to reframe it and let it go. Start
That's
focusing
true.
on
Do you
everything
ever
else.
go back to your journal and reread stuff you wrote like a year ago or 6 months ago?
Not intentionally, but a lot of times when I find it, I'm like, oh, I do love going back through it. It's funny, I looked at one recently, and it was at the beginning. It kind of gives you an audit of a few pages of things you want to change throughout the year and all the habits that you want to pick up and drop and everything. And it was really cool to see all of the habits that I wanted to drop had already dropped them.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
And everything. I had done everything in the journal, which is so rare, to look back
Yeah,
after a year and have made all of the changes that you wanted to do. So it was cool. Do you
that's
do
awesome.
that?
Do I do that?
I mean, you said you don't journal that much, but
Yeah, no, I don't, and I actually I did a deep dive into AI and agents and all that stuff as well, and that was one of the ideas I had was creating like a journaling thing. You can still journal normally, but you take a picture, it logs it, and then like you could get a list of, all right, 6 months ago, this is what you were thinking, 12 months ago, and it would kind of tell you how things are going based on what you were saying. Or, maybe around the holidays, you always get a little depressed, and that's a theme. But there are certain things that helped you out. So it would prompt you like a month beforehand. I know the holidays are tough. This seemed to help in the past and that sort of thing. So it would, I don't know. It was one of my many ideas I had while I was on a ladder painting painting houses this summer. But
yeah, no, I love that idea. I mean, journaling is so healthy and so beneficial. I recommend it to anybody. It's the easiest thing you can do is just go pick up a notepad.
yeah, that really is true. That really is true. Well,
And if you need to
Sarah,
get in the habit, just make it sorry to but I just would have mentioned, just
no,
make
go
things
for it.
obvious. If you have a journal, just put it on your bedside table. Just put it there until it's a habit. Because every time you look at it before you go to bed, you're gonna pick it up.
That's one thing I heard about creating habits too, and just because you said it, you put things in places where you're going to see it until it becomes a habit, or you change. One of the things was like if you, let's say you come home and you immediately sit on the couch, move the key rack to the kitchen or to a different room, so you have to go elsewhere to try and break the habit of putting the keys in the same spot and going right on the couch. Um, but yeah, I think putting the journal on the nightstand is a good idea. Move the
Yeah.
TV remote and put the journal in its place, and that would be a, a good move. Kill two habits, or kill one
Yeah,
and create a new one.
exactly. My TV remote has been in the trunk of my car for a while now.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Patriot season's starting soon. You got the Chargers left you out there in
Oh,
San
oh,
Diego.
yeah. Yeah.
Football, yeah. So
Yeah.
all right. Well, Sarah, I've taken up almost an hour of your time here. I'm so thankful that you were able to come on, and I appreciate everything that you shared with everybody today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. Thank you for the questions. And most of all, just thank you for the health movement. I think it's something that's so important nowadays, especially with all of this, digital pollution. And it's, we really got to start getting back into ourselves.
So, how can people get in touch? Do you only work in person, or do you do an online piece with your business?
Yeah, it's actually pretty much all virtual. So you can follow my Instagram, which is at Sarah Frances Anane. So Sarah with an H, Frances Frances. Then my last name is Anand. So it's on the screen right there
Yeah.
at Sarah Prince.
I'll put it in the description. Are there any spaces, or not spaces, but periods or dashes in there? Or is it all just one?
It's all, that's it. Yeah. All together, no spaces on Instagram. And then you can also go to sarahfrancesanand.com.
Okay.
So I make it pretty easy for you. Just
Yes, you do.
myname.com or Instagram.
Okay. Awesome. I'm going to jump over and follow you too on there. So you're going to, yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you, Sarah. Thank you everyone for listening. And reach out to Sarah. I know she'd love to hear from you guys. So thank you all.
Thank you very much, Derek.